everybody, and welcome back into another episode here of the Living Deadwax podcast on the Living Deadwax YouTube channel. We talk about music here. I am your host, Ty, joined by my co-host, one of my closest friends, Tyler. Tyler, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Yep.
That's why you're the best color man in the business.
How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing, brother? About to talk about some cool stuff here at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna do a pickups episode here on the channel, and we're gonna do a little show review too. Before we get into that, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled stuff soon. But we got one in the can that's got to go up. That probably go up next week. None of this matters because everything's going to be all this. None of this makes any sense if you're watching this in any type of order.
You're peeling back the fourth wall here, Ty. Peel back the curtain. We don't need to. So
yeah, very true.
I appreciate if we keep things as kayfabe as possible.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So, we did take a couple weeks off, so we're getting back into the groove of things. If you're new here, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. We went to the big Metallica show, Metallica tour, the M72 seasons tour, the 2 nights of fun. And that was what, 2 weekends ago was the second date, and like 4 weeks ago was the first date. Jeez, time's flying by. We waited so long for that show, and now we're almost a month past it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the 3rd and the 9th, wasn't it? I think
it was the first. It was supposed to be the 1st and the 3rd, but then the second night got delayed, and then it was like the 9th or something.
Yeah. Because James got the C word, the big C.
Yeah.
Not cancer, the other one. He got that. Had to delay it.
Yeah. So we also did the pop-up shop. We went to that the Friday before the Friday night show. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was really cool. What did you think about that? Because I really liked the vibes. Like it, I've only been to one Mania, the WrestleMania when it came here, but I had that vibe going because it felt like the whole town was buzzing about it. Like I saw Metallica shirts at the gas stations. The radio was talking about it. So how did you feel about that?
I mean, it was a happening. Like Metallica for this. I mean, obviously, I didn't track the Hardwired tour necessarily because we didn't go to that. But like for this tour, at least they have. It's a happening. It's a week-long event, 5 days at least long event. They have the pop-up shop where they sell exclusive shirts and the posters and stuff like that, and the vinyl or whatever. And then they also have, at least they did for us. They had the whiskey tasting. The black and whiskey tasting. They also had they had sponsored cover band acts, like approved or whatever, that was on their gimmick, their their like the app or whatever. So like that was like all like somewhat endorsed, I suppose. And like there was things to do like every day for like 4 or 5 days. So like it's pretty crazy. I don't know of another band that does that. There's probably not too many bands that could do that, right? And it was cool. Yeah. It was nice. Like I had never gone to a pop-up shop for anything. I know that's a thing for certain like comics and stuff like that, Comic-Cons or whatever, and like maybe Marvel stuff. I don't know. But like I've never gone to any of that stuff really. So to see, we got there super early. We got there at like 8:30, 9 o'clock or something like that, right? 9:30.
Yeah.
And then we lined up and pretty healthy turnout, because we were trying to get the record and whatever else. So pretty up.
Yeah,
it was
we
cool.
were pretty deep when we got there. And like you said, we got there a couple hours before it opened. And we were pretty back in line, but then the line even got healthier behind us. So I'm sure they had good traffic throughout the whole weekend. And then the second night, like Tyler said, got delayed because James got sick. But they brought back the pop-up shop. They did it again.
I assume they probably did it every day because they did it every day before. So I don't know if they just kept that open for all the days. I have no idea, but I imagine a lot of stuff got sold out by the time the next weekend rolled around. I don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah, I got like I was saying, I got WrestleMania vibes to it. Like it became like everybody was talking about it, even people that I know that don't care about rock or metal or music in general. Like
Yeah.
people were just, people were talking about it. And no, it's very cool. This is technically, I mean, the second time we've seen Metallica. We did see them at Big Four. Even though that by the end of that show, we were wasted and not drunk, but like just physically wasted and was unable to really appreciate what was going on.
I sat
So
down
this is,
on people's feet.
yeah. This was a way different experience seeing them. And the first night we saw them with Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth opened, and Pantera was main support, and then Metallica. What do you think about Wolfgang?
Wolfgang was the shit. I liked it a lot. He didn't move at all. Wolfgang did nothing. He did not come over to us because they were playing the round. So he did not entertain the round. He entertained the spot right where everybody else kind of starts out. And he just stood there the entire time, which I don't know, whatever you want to do. But he didn't move at all. He was just there the entire time, but it sounded good. I was into it. His guitarists and stuff came around though. So, that was cool.
Yes, yeah.
But I liked it. I thought it was a cool show, even though he didn't come over to our territory.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see him in like a marquee.
That's where he's playing at.
Yeah. See how it comes across there, because they did sound really good. I mean, he's a talented guy.
Yeah.
So obviously, he played bass in Van Halen, and now he's playing guitar in his own band and singing.
And he sounds good. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked about it before on the podcast, but I listened to the new record. I liked the new record that he put out. I heard the first record and it was fine, whatever. But like, I think you and I both echoed, like, it's not bad. It just sounds like radio rock. That's what it sounds like, which is not necessarily an insult by any means, but it sounds like radio. It sounds like what you're going to hear on your local rock radio. And I think that he probably does. I think they probably play those songs. He got nominated for a Grammy for that first record. So like, that's pretty crazy for the debut. And then I'm sure I don't listen to a lot of, I think you might still run into more radio than I do at this point, but I don't imagine, or I don't know, but I'm going to imagine he probably does pretty well there, even on new records.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I try to avoid terrestrial radio. If I listen to terrestrial, it's all sports, but
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you said, it is radio rock. It's kind of like a classic rock vibe, though.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't even know a new radio rock band. I don't know. I was trying to think of a band to compare it to. It's not like a Breaking Benjamin sound. Like, I like Breaking Benjamin, but it's not a Breaking Benjamin. It's not a Tremonti
Alter Bridge.
Like there is still like a classic rock vibe, I guess, to it. But yeah, it is kind of radio rocky. But yeah, they sounded good. Good opener. A good amount of people there for them too. Like, it was kind of empty, but they were rolling in.
Highlight, a minor low-key cool highlight though, is he's using the Van Halen gear. So you do have Van Halen logos and all the road cases and stuff, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yes. Yeah, I posted a picture of it on my Instagram of that road case. It's just, it was really cool to see that. So
we're never going to see Van Halen, so to see something that Eddie played on, I guess that's that's closest thing we got there. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then Pantera was the main support. So this is like their big this is a part of the big reunion tour or comeback tour, I guess. So obviously you got Phil and Rex, and then Zach Wild on guitar, and Charlie Benante from Anthrax on drums. Man, I said it before last weekend when we hung out, and like, I think Pantera was this best sounding band of the entire weekend.
Yeah. I mean, they did sound really good. I mean, Phil's 98%, 95% there, like, I think there's still things that obviously he can't really do anymore, or doesn't do anymore, just kind of
Cemetery. Yeah, they didn't do Cemetery Gates, so yeah.
They do a video, but they don't play it, right? So they had the video that's the dedication for Vin and Dime. But no, it was cool. Like, they, on the other hand, worked the stage very well. We saw Phil a bunch, we saw Zach a bunch, and then Charlie changed drum sets too. So we saw Charlie over there. Yeah, and we saw Rex too. So we saw all the guys, because we were very lucky. We got on the rail, so we were right there. And so they were, I don't know, 10 feet away from us as much as they can be, right? So they're right there. And
Yeah.
that was just really cool because I obviously not both of us, neither of us saw Pantera in the time. So this
No, yeah.
is what we got. And say what you want to say, which people are and do and will forever say. But it's a good time. It's a good show, and Phil does it. Phil does it, like I said, 95%. It's I mean, he's an older guy, so it is what it is. But everybody sounded really good, and I'm curious to what they do like after this. They do in the future, but right
They got
now, this year is pretty good.
Yeah, I think they got some more dates with Metallica at the end of the year when the Metallica tour starts back up again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. I don't know if we'll get a record or what. I don't know. I doubt it. I imagine those like kind of Guns N' Roses this and just tour. But who knows?
And as we talked about before, like it's right now, I think is okay. Like I don't know how, I'm not the arbiter of what's okay here, but I think right now is kind of like okay with people as much as it can be because it is Zach Wilde and it's Charlie Benante. But Charlie goes back to Anthrax, and Zach's going to go back to BLS at some point, or Ozzy if that ever hopefully doesn't. But if it ever does get off the ground again, he's going back to Ozzy. So he has other things he wants to do. I don't know what the next step is and if they're going to have 2 more dudes come in. And as it keeps going, I think it's going to get less and less appealing to certain folks, right?
Yeah, I mean, the charm's eventually going to wear off. But like people said that about Guns N' Roses, and they're still just
I don't know,
doing the same business.
That's fair, but it's like, it's weird.
I don't think they're that big, but you know what I mean? Like it's still a giant name.
I mean, I think they're doing arenas like on the off dates, aren't they?
I know they were doing the amphitheaters, the sheds with Lamb of God, but that's with Lamb of God co-headlining. So
yeah,
and Lamb of God's,
I mean,
probably equally as big now. I don't know.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, probably just because they've been. I mean, they're so much more active. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'd be curious to see if Pantera goes out by themselves without a co-headliner and see what happens. See where they try to play. So
yeah, I mean, I think they could still do arenas for the next while, maybe a year in I don't know, and then go to larger theaters.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Amphitheaters, that's 20,000 people for our local amphitheater. I don't think they're doing cricket, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun though seeing them. It was a really good set. I think they played like 45 minutes to an hour, and I think Wolfgang played like a half hour.
Yeah, real quick.
It was a really good set. I thought they sounded really good. I was really happy with it, and I'd seen some videos of some live footage of Zach doing like his pinch harmonics and shit on some of the stuff, but I didn't really catch that.
No,
I didn't really hear any of that in the moment.
That was the major criticism was Zach.
Yeah.
He's the only one they really knocked because they said Charlie was right there in the pocket or whatever and playing the same way Vin does. Whatever that. I'm no musician here, so whatever that means to people, it sounded good to me. And yeah, Zach was the question mark, right? And then we both kind of thought that. So it's good stuff.
Yeah,
they played what you wanted to hear. So
yeah, it was very cool to hear those songs live. I mean, obviously, I never thought I'd hear any of those songs live. And to hear them with 2/4 of the band, so half of the band, was very cool. I get it; it's weird. It is weird. It's like if Van Halen came back, but Alex wasn't there. Like it was just David and Michael. It's weird as shit. But it is what it is. Like you take it or leave it, So
I mean, you got to accept it. It's going to happen regardless, and the families are okay with it because I think they're all getting their money. So like, I don't know, like, and they do make it a point to like honor the legacy and like that's the whole thing. Like, and then they stop multiple times throughout the set to talk about it. So like, it's not like they're ignoring the elephant in the room, right? So like they're still acknowledging everything, and then all the merch and everything else. To my dismay, a little bit, unfortunately. Sorry, I don't like the For the Legacy for the Brothers stamped on everything. I would rather just have Pantera merch, but like I get it. Whatever, it's just whatever. Yeah, but no, they sounded really good, and I don't know if I want to agree with you full out, but I understand exactly what you're saying with
So
them sounding the best.
So we'll get into it. We'll get into it because Metallica
Yeah.
came on afterwards. It's about an hour in between. That kind of pissed me off a little bit because, like, I don't know the ins and outs, and obviously it's a giant production. Like, I've never been to a stadium show before. This is the first and probably only stadium shows I'll ever go to. Been to arena shows before, but like this is probably the biggest production I've ever seen. So there might be more going on behind the scenes. My point is they're not setting up a giant set or anything or pulling out amps and setting up the drums. Like everything is already set up. So that kind of peeved me off that there's an hour in between bands. Like I don't really know why that needs to be there. But like I think we could have spaced that out a little bit better, just started the show later. But yeah, Metallica came on, obviously, headlining, obviously. And yeah, this is night one. And I just think Pantera sounded better. And I don't know if it's just because James is sick, but like by the end of the set, James just stopped singing songs. And the crowd was just singing most of the songs. And then
so we all night we didn't talk about it. We did not talk about it until end of the night. We did not talk about it. We were enjoying the set and it was awesome. Loved it. And it was really cool. And it was awesome. It was first time, like I said, like, you know, we saw Metallica, whatever. The first time we were singing a lot of these songs, and especially obviously right there and seeing all the guys and everything else, because Metallica does it right. They do everything right. Like, there's not a thing that you can really criticize them on when it comes to like their production and like everything else, like their merch, you know, whatever. Like their merch, as crazy as it is actually cheaper than a lot of people's merch in their same level, which is pretty crazy to think about. The things they offer to their fans, like I think you pre-ordered the recordings for the show, which is pretty crazy, and they make that available after every show for all the fans that want to do it. But they're all their production, they have screens everywhere, so everybody can see exactly like the best part of the shows all the time. They have 8 screens that are hanging from the like 8 like pillars that are hanging from the ceiling and stuff, right? And they have 4 drum sets for Lars. They have pedals everywhere, so no matter where you're at, you can adjust whatever you need to do. And all the guys run around the entire night and do everything, you know, make everybody feel a part of it. Like whether you're in the snake pit or like, 'cause we weren't, and we were just on the general floor. I mean, we felt, I felt as a part of it as you probably could, right? They have 4 corners, if you will, of the circle, and they would just start in one corner and then make their way and then kind of go around, and then at the end, you know, whatever. But we didn't talk about it, but you know, we did get shortchanged that first night. You noticed it more than I did, because I noticed the because you were looking at all night, you were looking at the set list to see like where we were at and seeing like what we were getting if we had a comparable set list to other things.
Yeah,
and
I just wanted to see if they were I just wanted to see if they were changing it up at all, because I knew they were changing out some songs on certain shows. So I was just trying to keep track and see like, just, you know, maybe we were getting some different shit. And some shit started going off the rails. They were going to play the big thing that ticked it off was they were going to play The Day That Never Comes.
Yeah.
And they started the intro for it, which is like an hourglass on the big screens. And then like the hourglass
guitar.
Yeah, and the hourglass showed up for like, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then it got cut. And then they immediately went into, I think, Fuel. And so there was a little thing. So we lost what? Master of Puppets, and we lost The Day That Never Comes.
Day That Never Comes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it went into Hardwired.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tyler got the set list for both nights, but so Tyler could check me on this. So yeah, that set list has everything that was supposed to be played. So we did get shortchanged a little bit that first night, and I get it. I get it. He's sick. It is what it is. Yeah, Puppets are supposed to close. We didn't get Puppets. We just got.
We didn't know that in the moment, though. We just knew something was going on.
Yeah. And I did by the end, like Fuel's a stupid song, but he like didn't even try to sing Fuel.
Yeah.
There was very little singing going on, like his voice is giving out at the end. Some of Lars's drums, and people were commenting on some shit, like some of his drums were gone. Like there was, when they moved over and played Orion, like the snare was completely gone. One of his snares was just like gone. There was no mic working. So there was some shit, especially that first night, that technically just kind of went sour.
And I was wearing that first night. I was wearing earphones. I was wearing earplugs that night, and I had never done that before. It's my first time ever doing it, and I didn't do it the second night, but the first night. So I remember, like, so Lars is right there in front of us. From we got King Nothing, we got Lux Eterna, we got Too Far Gone, and we got Fade to Black. So we got those. That was our corner of the songs or whatever, right? So I remember
King Nothing wasn't over there. King Nothing was on the other. I have videos of that.
Lux Eterna. Never mind. That's the okay. Lied to you.
Yeah, they moved over. They moved over and they played like the 72 season songs, and then I think they played Fade to Black in between.
Yeah,
and they had Lars over there doing Fade to Black.
What's Shadows? Shadows
is Shadows. It's a 72 season song.
Yeah. So that was our 4 that we got there. So like I remember
Shadows Follow.
There you go.
I want to say Shadows Fall, but that's a band.
I was gonna say the same thing, exactly the same thing. But yeah, so I was kind of mad that we got mostly new songs, but we got Fade to Black, which is obviously Fade to Black. So but anyway, but I was hearing because Lars right in front of us, and the drums were just weird. And I know the Lars, whatever, I get it, like whatever, I don't care, right? But I get the whole thing. But like it was still like weird, and I remember taking out my earplugs and trying to figure out if it was the earplugs that were doing it, like it was causing some sort of delay. And I knew like the mic, and it had to bounce off the mic, and we were hearing it live, but it was also going through the PA, so it was weird. I don't know, but like that went on for the entire night, no matter where he was. So like it was just a little bit off all night. It was a little sloppy, and like I still had tons of fun. It was still awesome.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about it at all until we got out of there, and we were walking out. And then I remember saying like, hey guys, I don't want to say anything. And I'm not trying to say anything. And like, it was awesome. And I'm not trying to say anything bad at all. But I do think there was like it seemed like there was a little bit of, weirdness and sloppiness there. And then you echoed it, and then Josh echoed it too. And then we all kind of came together unofficially. We had the same thought. We did not voice it until the end because we all wanted to be in the moment and stoked all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then as we were walking to the car, that's when we kind of could talk some business, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. And so yeah, it was definitely it's a good set. It's a good set what they're doing. If they're coming and you've never seen them, like this is it. Like this is the time to go see them. Like they're playing tons of songs, different songs that they haven't played before, songs they haven't played in a very long time. So like I recommend it. Like it just because we're gonna nitpick this. It is what it is. And he was sick, so it's a little different. So it is what it is. But you're right. Some of the band that themselves sounded weird.
Yeah, Kirk's guitar was a little fucked up.
I thought Kirk was. I thought he was okay the first night. The second night was worse, which we'll get to. I think Rob was pretty great the entire time. I don't remember really anything weird with Rob. So yeah, definitely a great production in the round stadium. The sound, it did get a little weird at some points, like you said, with the drums, because you're especially that close, you're 10 feet away from the drums, maybe 20 feet. So you're hearing him hit the drums, and then you're hearing that, and then hearing it come out of the PA. So like it's kind of a weird experience. But overall, I think the sound sounded great. And I have had people tell me that they've seen shows at the Cardinal Stadium, and it did not sound good. And they were in seats. I had people comment on some of my videos too, like, oh, it sounded so much better where you were. So
because that was my thought. I asked you, and that's when you told me that. I asked you, I wonder if it was better in the seats than it was where we were.
It's worse.
Because and you said it was worse. Yeah, that's what people said.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, first night was pretty fun, and then we got stuck in the parking lot for like 3 hours, obviously, because we paid for parking and got stuck there. We did it better the second night, but
we went to IHOP afterwards, and that was when you started checking stuff as we were sitting there, and we did go a little distance from the stadium and still ran into Metallica traffic at the IHOP as we were there. Like it was crazy. Like Metallica they took over the city, right? And then they saw your shirt because you were wearing the Guns and Metallica shirts. So that was awesome. And the guy talked to us, and the guy knew too. He was like, I wonder why they didn't play. We missed 2 songs, so he was already in the know. He was already smarting up, and he was like, we missed 2 songs.
he was like, something happened there, man. Something happened with
Yeah.
that show, and he was all
Yeah,
conspiratorial, like they're breaking up or something. And
Oh,
that's the way Vi took it. Like he thought there was
yeah,
like way more going on than what there was. And
yeah. I think you said I think
and
somebody might be sick. Like something happened. Like whatever. Like
yeah, so
something
obviously
out of the
something happened. Yeah.
yeah.
And then you said, "Oh, we'll see if they," because he was talking about Master of Puppets, and he's like, they didn't play Master of Puppets. They've been closing with that all
Yeah.
tour." And you were like, "Oh, maybe they'll play it next, Sunday." This is before it got delayed because it got delayed
Yeah.
the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, "Maybe they'll play it Sunday." He's like, "Nope."
Nope.
Or I don't think so, or something.
Okay. No, he said,
I don't think so.
yeah, I said nope. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's like, oh,
there you go.
okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a little weird, strange, and still fun though. Still a blast,
Yeah.
and really cool to see Pantera and see Wolfgang, see a Van Halen. Really cool.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So like you said, the second day, that Saturday was the off day in between. Then they announced that it was delayed until the following weekend, which is obviously crazy because a lot of people are traveling for this. They got very lucky too because they moved it to a Saturday, and that was the start of the football season, and the Cardinals were away. I'm sure that this was planned out ahead of time.
Yeah. In
But
the event of.
yeah, but if not, they got very lucky. Because shit could have got even worse, and they could have been playing like on a Wednesday night or some shit to try to make it up.
So, side note on that. So they paid for the football stadium for almost 2 weeks. They paid for like the rent it out, which is insane.
So that's how that works then, right? So
because
if
they
your
can't run
shit's
anything else
you're
there.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So what's funny is I talked to our buddy Josh, and so Josh watched like Tom Segura's podcast or whatever, because the Tom and Bert podcast or whatever, and Bert went to the show in LA. And so Tom and Bert were talking about it, and then Bert was like, I guess it was what conversation Josh told me, but I guess Bert said that for his tour there was 7 trucks. For Bert's comedy tour there was 7 trucks, and like the whole night he was just like, how many trucks do they have? What is happening? This is crazy. And then Tom said, I thought the same thing. He's like, so what I did is I actually know their tour man, or like one of their tour guys or whatever, and he just texted him and asked him how many trucks they have. 62 trucks.
I don't doubt it.
Absolutely insane how much they pay to tour. Like, I don't know how all that works. Like merch. Yeah. I mean, I imagine every one of the pillars, maybe half of it is in a truck, quarter of it's in a truck, and the whole thing, I don't know, but like everything is huge. Everything is absolutely massive. And yeah, they paid for 2 weeks for hotels and everything else too.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably 50 feet up there, 30, 40 feet. Tractor trailer's 54 feet, 52 feet, whatever. So yeah, you're probably right. Like those big pillars with the screens on them. Yeah, and then obviously that stage has got to come apart.
All the equipment, all the instruments,
all the gear,
all the merch.
All the merch, like you said.
Absolutely crazy, man. Metallica does everything right. They do everything right. They do everything top tier. They've been doing it for so many years now. They have it down to a science, I imagine. Like, it's just absolutely crazy.
So I was pretty bummed when it got delayed because I was like in that mindset. I was like, all right, this is Metallica weekend. And then it got delayed. So I was pretty bummed. In hindsight, I appreciate it because, they obviously would have sounded even worse. If they would have tried to play that Sunday. So it got delayed and they moved it instead of Sunday, they moved it to a Saturday. We were supposed to have Ice 9 Kills open, and they obviously had something else going on. So we got Suicidal Tendencies. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Super sick.
Yeah. They sounded pretty good. It was way more empty in there than it was for Wolfgang. I think there was a lot less people there overall.
Yeah, as you said, yeah.
Maybe not a lot less, but like some of the upper levels and like the sides were less filled out.
Because if you're traveling, if you're traveling, then you're not going to the next weekend.
Yeah, if you can't come out here again, or just stay all weekend, or stay all week, like you're screwed. So yeah, that was to be expected. Suicidal was really cool though. It's cool to see them. Obviously, Ty Trujillo is playing there, Robert's son.
Yeah,
Robert came out and played a song with him, and Robert was also in Suicidal, so it's kind of a full circle thing. So
yeah,
that
for
was really
sure.
cool. Mike sounded really cool. I'm like, you're not. It's not really. You don't really have to sing. You're mostly just yelling and shouting, whatever. But
Yeah, he's hype
like
man.
he's still sounded really cool and was still working the stage, and it
I
was cool to
I
see
mean,
him. So
he's got to be pushing 60. I don't know. He's got to be pushing 60, and he's still got all the energy in the world. He's a bigger
yeah,
guy, so like him just rolling
yeah,
around the entire 30-minute set, 35-minute set, whatever it was, and doing
yeah,
it. And he said that they gave him, or that I think that he was trying to do more stuff, because I think he was still doing a suicidal set. So like I think Suicidal usually plays an hour, 90 minutes or so. So he's still doing like the intros and like his talks and whatever. And then they like told him, hey man, you got 5 more minutes or whatever they said, right? And then he was like,
yeah,
he's like, all right, so we played too long, and so whatever. And he started finishing things up or whatever. But it was cool. Yeah, I mean, we had never seen Suicidal, so it was cool to see them. And it's it's still Mike Muir out there, right? And it's still him doing it and playing the songs. And he
yeah.
played. I mean, he played a lot of songs, but he didn't play Institutionalized, so the hit they didn't play that. I don't even know if they play that very often anymore. They might not. I'm not sure.
Mm.
But we did get to let it bring you down, or bring you down, and then I
Yeah,
think they played other stuff. Can't remember now, but
yeah,
yeah, they played 4 or 5 songs, and then you also realize that most Suicidal songs are just the chorus over and over and over again when it's
yeah. I
live.
mean, it's crossover punk. That's what it's gonna
Yeah,
be. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of what it is. Anyway,
yeah.
still fun, still really cool to see them, and probably enjoyed that more than we would enjoy Ice Nine Kills. So I know
100%.
nothing about that band other than they do like a horror gimmick, and like all their songs are like horror themed, like after horror movies and shit. So I don't know. But so they opened, and then Five Finger was still on the tour, and they were direct support. This is like I think this is this. I saw them once long time ago on the Family Values tour, like the '08 Family Values tour. That was basically like their first big tour. This
Yeah,
is even before their first record came out. So I saw them on the side stage, and there's a little concrete stage out at Cricket Pavilion that is, I don't know, maybe 20 feet, if that, and
yeah.
3 or 4 feet off the ground, if that. And saw them on that, and then I might have seen them like one other time on a fest between
They
them, but
referenced that show though, which is
he
funny.
did. Yeah, Ivan
Yeah,
did talk about that, and he even talked about being on the '03 Ozfest with this other band, Motograder. And the funny part about that is my brother Josh was there. So, he Ivan has a lot of ties to Phoenix and living here off and on and stuff. So,
yeah.
I, I'm not a huge Five Finger fan. I like that first record quite a bit. That was a good like high school record for me. I listened to a lot in high school. They lost me as they got bigger and started doing more radio shit. But and then covers, like every album has a fucking cover on it. It's like a gimmick. Um,
Gets
but they
over.
sounded good. They sounded good, and they're way
No,
over with their fans.
100%. I mean, I told you, like, I don't know anything. I know nothing besides like they exist, and I've heard their what's the cover they did?
Bad Company.
I've heard the Bad Company cover without even really knowing anything about who it was, but I do remember hearing that cover, and so I don't know really anything about the band. Again, I think I don't I don't want to say it because I'm not going to fully mean it, but without being a fan of the band, I don't care. I'm not going to buy a record, really listen to it, whatever. They killed it. They did really, really well. I get it. It's not my gimmick. It's not my deal, really. Their sound, their record. I completely get it. They work the stage so well. They have a great show. They sound great. Like, all their fans are super into it. We had a number of them around us that were going off the entire time, which was cool to
Yeah,
see. Like, it's always cool to see guys just lose, like grown men, really, and also kids, whatever, lose
yeah.
their shit for an hour for this band or whatever. And it was cool. Like, I walked away, like, if we went to a fest and they were playing, I would watch them play again. Like, I would have no qualms about it, really. Like, it was a really cool show. They sounded really
Yeah,
good, and even without knowing any of the songs, I was like, all right, like, I get what's happening, and I know you've kind of phrased it as like it's what it's what Pantera would sound like if they were like today, and like came out today, and like I get that. I completely see what you're saying. Maybe not the overall gimmick, like with how they, you know, what they wear or whatever, this and that, but like the sound completely understandable. Like
well, I think they're
that's the
very
thing.
similar bands because like Pantera, a lot of people hate Pantera. Like a lot of fucking people hate Pantera, and
Yeah,
a
you
lot
said
of people
that.
love them. They're also a giant band. Five
Yeah.
Finger, they're one of the biggest newer metal bands going. Like them and Ghost, like Event Seven's not a new band, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're in the top 5, really. Like they're up there with like Slipknot, and so, but they have a lot of
Crazy.
haters, obviously. So,
Oh,
but they
for
have a
sure,
good
yeah.
they have a good rapport with their fans. Like you said, people are way into them. The one dude on the rail was way into him. They sought him out, gave him a set list, and I think a bunch of picks and shit.
Bunch of picks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a little girl with her dad there, and they Ivan called her out, and he gave
The
her
dog tags.
his dog tags or whatever, and so
Yeah.
like they have a good rapport with their fans. Like it's very it makes sense, like you said, it makes sense why people are into them. They sounded really cool. The main thing is me is very cool, kind of full circle seeing them playing there. Like they're playing in a giant stadium. You know, it wasn't full yet, but there's still 30,000-40,000 people there. Like that's ridiculous seeing them, and they were playing to like 30 when Josh and I watched them. So really crazy to see a band come up like that. And I think Metallica gets it. Like I know a lot of people hate Metallica because of their openers. Because like a lot of people on the suburb like, oh, I can't believe Five Fingers on this. But they gave you like that first night with the classics and like with Pantera and then the Wolfgang, the Van Halen connection. And then they gave you the newer rock.
The kids.
The second night. Yeah, exactly. So I think I think they get it when they're booking their tours and booking their openers because they do that often.
But like that's like been there. They've had Volbeat on tours, right? They've had
tons.
and they had a ton of Volbeat. That and yeah, you said they had
Gojira's
tours too.
Ghost open for him. Gojira's open for him a ton. Five Fingers been opening for him a ton even prior to this.
Yeah.
A lot of the newer. I think Avenged is open for him.
Like they try to appeal to like the new generation, I guess, right? And like they're still the biggest band or one of the biggest bands in the world, but they still want to bring new kids into it. And maybe if there's kids for some reason that aren't into Metallica, but their parents bring them, but they are into Five Finger or Volbeat or whoever, you know, they're gonna have fun during that set and Metallica set, hopefully, right? So I mean, they do it right. I mean, would it be cool if they just brought out the other, you know, big old thrash bands? Yeah, it'd be cool, but I don't think that's the vibe they want to really necessarily cultivate all the time.
Yeah. And then they got going on the second night, and definitely better. I think James sounded better. My biggest nitpick of the second night was the slower songs were just really weird being that down-tuned. I thought Unforgiven was pretty bad. What were the other ballads there? You have the set list right there.
Yeah, so Unforgiven, they had so Rome, Unforgiven, let me just run the set list. So they came out with Whiplash. They went into
Great.
it was crazy. Who Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, and then
those sounded pretty good. Yeah.
Yep. And then they had Dirty Window, right?
That's the Saint Anger song, which sounded actually pretty good. I was actually pretty impressed with that song.
Yeah. And then they did 70 Seasons, and then Darkness. What's Darkness?
That's one of the 70 Season songs.
Does it? Okay. Just whatever. If Darkness Had a Sun, there you go. And they went to Sanitarium, and that was cool to see the Sanitarium.
I was pretty disappointed in that. That was one of the ones I was pretty disappointed in.
Yeah.
That's a top 3 Metallica song for me. And I didn't think it sounded very well. I think of a lot of the slower shit.
The downtune stuff, yeah. So and then they did You Must Burn, which I liked that song. I think You Must Burn is a cool song. I was into that. And then Cthulhu, and they went to Unforgiven, which another one that you didn't like. They went to Rome, and what sucks is Wherever May Roam. That's one of my favorite Metallica songs. It's one of my favorites. I love that song so much. And at that point, I got lightheaded, and because I wasn't breathing enough and I wasn't doing good, so I dipped out right at the end of Unforgiven, and you were still there, and Josh was still there, and I dipped out for I guess it turned out to be 2 songs, right? And then you dipped out almost immediately afterwards.
I stood up there for like when the song started, and then I had to go piss. And so I was walking around, and it was interesting getting way back there because the bass was so powerful.
Yeah.
In the back. We hardly heard any bass up front, but in the back, it was like you could feel it vibrating.
For sure.
Like throughout the stadium.
When I went and sat because I went and sat against the wall, I sat down against the wall, and I just caught my breath and tried to get back into it. And it was a different sound for sure. So again, I can't speak for the seats, but I got as close to the seats as you could. I got the back wall of the floor or whatever, right? Yeah. So it sounded really good back there. And then we made our way back up to the back of the pit. So we were still in the back of the pit, and then we watched Puppets. And so they did play Puppets. They made up for it. So I'm bummed I missed Wherever You May or I'm Your Own. I bummed out I missed that. But Puppets was still fun. And then they played Blackened. It was
Blackened sounded good.
Yeah, it was good. And then Whiskey in the Jar. I didn't know they were going to play that, but you said they've been playing it on and off throughout the tour, I guess. Yeah. And then they played One, and they closed with Sandman. So
they played Nothing Else Matters too. Second night.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
It's on the set list.
No, they played Nothing Else Matters. I have video of it. It's not on the set list?
Not on the set list, no.
Or is it does it just say Matters or?
No, it's so where do they play
nothing,
it on set list?
Let me go to the set list .fm. But
was it Unforgiven Rome? Unforgiven or Nothing Else Matters?
Let me look. Maybe it was the first night.
Yeah, first night. Yeah, because they played it right before Sabbath True.
Okay. Sorry. Because I remember Nothing Else Matters sounding kind of shitty too.
Yeah, because I think you hear that a lot more than I do. I think you hear that a lot more.
I don't know. I just know those songs so well. Like, it was just weird. Like, the fucking acoustic guitar on Unforgiven was awful. It sounded awful.
It's a totally different sound.
Yeah, and I was like, this sounds nothing like the album. I get it. Like, it's not going to sound exactly like it, but it is what it is. I thought the second night set list was better. I liked it more. Even though Fade to Black, which is my favorite Metallica song, was first night, I still think the second night just flowed better. I think One was awesome. Like, obviously the stage production. They closed with Enter Sandman the second night. We got Puppets the second night, which sounded great. Outside of the few ballads, like outside of Sanitarium, I was pretty bummed. Yeah. It's like some of it sounded good, like the faster parts, the soloing sounded pretty good, and then just like it just kind of gets weird when it gets slower.
So we had 72 Seasons, we had If Dark Side of Sun, we had Sanitarium, and we had Burn, or You Must Burn. So that's the 3 songs the 4 songs
that was on our side. Yeah, like they kind of do when they play the 16 songs, they do it in quarters. So they play 4 on one side, 4 on another, 4 on another, and then 4 the closers on the other side. So when it works out that way, when they the first night they played 14 songs, so not everybody got even and spread across. But they, like you said, the guys run around the stage pretty much the whole night too, even if they're on like the one side. So you feel like you're involved the whole time. If you're down there, like I was pretty happy with it. It was a lot of fun, man.
We both came away with picks and things.
Oh yeah, my pick's in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do.
You actually got a played pick, which is cool.
No, I didn't.
I thought that was when Hetfield was playing.
No. I got this at the end. So if anybody asks,
Tyler, no. You got a played pick because that has a grip on it.
Oh, okay.
That's a textured pick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's a played pick.
Okay.
That was either played by somebody or it was in one of the mic stands. I guarantee it. The pick I have is completely smooth.
Smooth. Okay.
And nobody's there. None of them are going to play that.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I bet it might be in a mic stand. That's true. It might have been. I don't remember. It might have been the mic stand.
I mean, me and you were standing back there during Master of Puppets. James flicked this pick, and it hit me in my shoe, and I didn't react. Like I was just like, "Oh, the pick just hit me," and I just stood there for whatever reason. Yeah. And then the girl in front of us like reached down right next to my foot and grabbed it, and I was like, I'm not gonna push over the girl or whatever. People were going crazy for those picks, and I'm like, they're literally getting. Like solo cupfuls, and throwing them out there. There's thousands of these fucking things, and there was people jumping the rails into the camera wells, trying to get picks. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. Like, I get it. I gotta pick the first night, which is cool.
Yeah,
but so Tyler
I had to
got
wait
both
the second
set
night.
lists. Yeah, Tyler got both set lists and a pick. So,
I mean, I collect set lists. This is the major thing for me. This is definitely like, unless I get a Bruce set list or like I guess a Blink set list, this will go down as like the best thing I'll ever get. So getting both of these each night, these are Lars's from our side of the stage. They're Lars's kit set list. So his feet are on there. Lars' little Danish feet and his shoes. And so
very small man. Very small man.
I mean, we knew Lars is small, but then when he's right in front of us and he's up to like here, like it's weird. He is a small man.
Yeah, like his head is at the rail.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's a tiny dude, and like we both sat there, like, because like again, I don't know if we might get another show, we might get another more floor or whatever we get lucky, but like to have Metallica a part of our lives for base our entire lives, even just ancillarily, you're part of the osmosis or whatever, just everything, and then you're finally seeing them right there in your face, and then Lars Ulrich walks by you and he's like touching, like he didn't slap my hand, but he's slapping hands. Everybody, whatever, my hand was out, he missed mine, but whatever, it's fine. I won't hate you, Lars, but it's just surreal, absolutely surreal. Crazy.
Yeah, it really was crazy. I said that when we saw Pantera too. Like we've been talking about Phil since high school. Like,
yes.
Making fun of Phil and doing the Phil voice and talking about the behind the music and shit. And
the kid.
So yeah, it was really crazy to see both of those bands, especially Metallica and especially like Phil as well. It was a great night. It was great 2 nights. It was a lot of fun. It was well worth the money. I highly suggest going if they're coming around to you.
For sure. I mean, they only got so many more left in them, right? And so if you have the ability to go see them, go do it. If you are very, very lucky like we were and got a cheap access based upon exclusive contracts for ticketing agencies, if you're able to get floor 4 tickets, I would suggest doing that, because we paid $360 out the door each for 2 weekends to see Metallica on the floor, on the rail for us. And every dollar well spent, which is crazy to say, but absolutely well spent.
I mean, it's $180 a night, so like, yeah, it was a great show, man. Well worth the money, like you said. And we kind of looked out with the SeatGeek, because SeatGeek has the contract with the Cardinals football stadium. So I think we kind of lucked out with that, like you said. Like, it didn't have to go through Ticketmaster.
Another cool thing they do that we can talk about is they, at the pop-up shops, they handed out these cards, and the cards you scan it, and like this one's for a signed skate deck. So you take a picture of the QR code and then you just enter your information, whatever. You're probably signing up for awful things. I don't know. I haven't gotten anything bad, but you sign up for stuff, whatever, in your email and your phone number, and then it tells you if you win or not. I didn't win. None of us won anything. And this one's for Snake Pit, and it's you and a guest go to Snake Pit. So like we had a few of these from the pop-up shop and otherwise, and like it's awesome. Like they offer so much cool stuff. And I guess they also have people walking around and maybe opting people into the Snake Pit too all night. So like if you don't buy the Snake Pit, you could still possibly get offered it later on, just a happenstance. And or by chance or whatever, and like that's just awesome. Just no complaints. Like they just do everything right, and they also posted videos for us already. They posted our videos on YouTube, or a few of them. So just everything is just so cool. So Metallica top tier, like can't argue with a lot, and they're a well-ran, well-oiled machine for sure.
So we got the benefit of a couple weeks hindsight. Where do you think you'd put it as far as like shows you've attended?
I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I absolutely think so. Like,
do you think it's number one?
I know it's never number one because I've seen Bruce on the rail twice, and that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
It's the most well produced. It's the best production I've ever seen. 100%. It's absolutely the best production I've ever seen. And it's also the most money ever spent on a show. But it's up there. It's top 5, maybe top 4, top 3, maybe. But it's hard to argue with the Bruce stuff. But yeah, it's definitely up there for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I think it maybe cracked the top 5 if we ever did that ranking.
Yeah,
like top 5 shows attended. I think we did tours, or something.
Did, yeah.
I don't think we did like individual shows. Anyway, I think it cracked the top 5. I don't know, like you said with Bruce, seeing Maiden in different aspects, that Maiden's a much more important band to me than Metallica.
And we both have Big Four, which also includes Metallica, but that's a whole thing. Big Four is a whole different conversation.
Yeah, and I had way more fun watching the other bands than I did Metallica at Big Four, because by the time Metallica came out, I just wanted to go home. So, and then we still had a 6-hour drive to do from Indio back to Phoenix that morning. Night into morning. So like, yes, that whole gimmick though is definitely a top 5 show I've ever seen, but it's more so the whole, just everything intertwined rather than the bands, because
100%.
I don't know though, that Slayer set list is the best Slayer set list I've ever seen. That's probably the best time I've ever seen Slayer out of the
it's also
I've seen them, so
for sure. And it's also like, just on that show, it's also very hard to it's very hard to argue or like not get upset, but like to take it off a high listing, because the last Slayer show ever, and we saw it.
It's Jeff and Dave. So anyways, I definitely put it in the top 5. It's hard to knock off Maiden as far as top, or especially the couple times I've seen Rush, just because they mean more to me. But I think Maiden's production is close. It's definitely smaller.
Yeah,
I think it's very close with their set changes and costume changes and pyro
everywhere.
Like so I think Maiden's close to Metallica, because Metallica really didn't have a lot of pyro. During the first night, it was just fuel, and during the second night, it's just one.
So pyro and fuel, and then it was supposed to be on puppets. So there was supposed to be 2 pyros on there, and then for second night, same thing. So second night, there was oh no, Blackened had flames too. They didn't have pyro.
Oh yes, you're right. Yeah, the flames.
Yeah. And then
one had the
pyro and
one
flames.
had the big pyro and the flames.
And then Sandman had pyro too.
Okay. So second night had a little bit more. Okay, take that back. But anyways, definitely in the top 5 for me. It was awesome.